Your life can pivot in an entirely new direction the moment you make a single, committed decision. Not a wish, not a half promise, but a true decision, one that leaves no back door open. It's the kind of choice that says, this is the path and I'm walking it no matter what. That single moment can set your life on a different trajectory because once your mind is made up, your actions start to align, your focus sharpens, and the unnecessary begins to fade away. One choice can act like the first domino in a long chain reaction. You may not see the full effect immediately, but that decision ripples through your days, influencing every action, every response, and every opportunity you encounter. The right decision can create momentum that carries you further than effort alone ever could. Of course, the choices that matter most often require courage. They demand that you step into uncertainty and accept the risk that comes with change. But here's the truth. Every meaningful transformation begins in the uncomfortable space between who you are and who you could become. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. The moment you commit, something shifts. Excuses lose their power, fear starts to shrink, and the road ahead becomes clearer, not because it's suddenly easy, but because you've decided that quitting is no longer an option. Your decision becomes your compass, guiding you through challenges and pulling you back on track when you drift. One choice can separate the life you're living from the life you've been dreaming about. The question is, will you make it now, or will you keep waiting for the perfect moment? Because the choice that changes everything isn't made someday, it's made today. One choice can set off a chain reaction that shapes your entire future. It may feel small in the moment, almost insignificant, but like the spark that lights a fire, it can transform everything around it. A decision to change a habit, pursue a goal, or walk away from something harmful begins a sequence of events you can't fully predict, but you can direct. That's the power of choice. It doesn't just change your next step, it reshapes the road ahead. When you make a firm decision, the effects ripple outward. That one shift influences the way you think, the way you act, and the opportunities you notice. It can lead you to meet new people, discover new ideas, and take risks you would have avoided before. Before you know it, the landscape of your life looks completely different, all because of a single point of decision. The chain reaction isn't always instant. It often works quietly in the background. You may not see the connection between that one choice and the results you experience years later, but the link is there. Just as planting a seed leads to a harvest you can't yet see, your decision sets growth in motion that will eventually bear fruit. The danger is in underestimating your power. Many people think change requires dozens of new commitments all at once, but more often, it's one defining choice that starts the transformation. Once you make it, you naturally begin to align your actions with it, and that alignment compounds over time. So don't dismiss the small but significant choices in front of you. One choice can change your habits, your mindset, your direction, and ultimately your destiny. Make the choice that your future self will thank you for, and let it set the chain reaction in motion. The right decision rarely comes wrapped in certainty and comfort. More often, it stands at the edge of the unknown, asking you to step forward without having all the answers. That's why courage is so essential, because the most important choices in life often feel risky. You can't see every outcome in advance, and you can't guarantee success, but you make the decision anyway, trusting that you'll learn, adapt, and grow along the way. Fear will always try to pull you back toward what's familiar. It will whisper that staying where you are is safer than stepping into the unknown. But the truth is, safe can also mean stuck. The comfort of certainty may protect you from failure, but it also shields you from the growth and opportunities you'll only find on the other side of risk. When you make a bold decision, you send a signal to yourself and to the world that you're ready to take responsibility for your future. That commitment changes the way you think and act. You start seeking solutions instead of avoiding challenges, and even setbacks become part of the process rather than reasons to quit. Courage doesn't eliminate fear, it moves forward in spite of it. You don't have to feel ready to act. You have to act to feel ready. Every time you make a choice that scares you but matters to your growth, you expand your capacity for the next challenge. The decisions that shape your life are rarely the easy ones. They demand that you trade the illusion of safety for the possibility of something greater. And when you step forward with courage, even into uncertainty, you discover that the path reveals itself only to those who dare to walk it. A true commitment is like locking the door to your old life and throwing away the key. When you fully commit, you remove the option of turning back or give in to excuses. You stop leaving yourself a safety net for quitting and instead focus all your energy on moving forward. This shift is powerful because it forces your mind to look for solutions instead of ways out. With no escape route, you learn to adapt, push through, and make progress no matter what obstacles you face. Excuses thrive when commitment is weak. As long as there's an open door to back out, your mind will use it the moment things get uncomfortable. You'll justify delays, lower your standards, and convince yourself that you'll try again later. But when your commitment is absolute, excuses lose their purpose. They have nowhere to go. Closing the door on excuses doesn't mean challenges disappear. It means you stop allowing them to dictate your actions. Instead of retreating at the first sign of difficulty, you start looking for a way through, over, or around the problem. You train yourself to respond with persistence instead of avoidance. This kind of commitment transforms how you see yourself. It builds self-trust because each time you keep your word, you reinforce the belief that you can depend on yourself. That confidence becomes fuel, carrying you through even the toughest seasons. So if you're serious about your goals, close the door on excuses once and for all. Burn the bridge back to your old habits. When quitting is no longer an option, success becomes the only destination. Potential is a wonderful thing. It's the promise of what could be. But potential alone has never built a future. It's like a seed left in a packet, full of possibility, but lifeless until planted. But lunchless that turns potential into progress is the decision to act. Not to plan endlessly, not to dream without movement, but to take a concrete step forward, however small, and keep stepping. That's the moment potential stops being theory and starts becoming reality. The truth is, many people live their entire lives surrounded by untapped potential. They have talents they never use, ideas they never explore, and dreams they never chase. Why? Because the leap from I could to I will feels intimidating. But progress doesn't require perfection. It requires motion. Even imperfect action moves you closer to your goals, while waiting for the perfect moment keeps you stuck. Once you make the choice to act, something shifts. Opportunities begin to appear, not because they weren't there before, but because your eyes are now open to see them. People notice your movement and are drawn to it. Momentum builds, and every small victory fuels the next step. What once felt impossible starts to look inevitable. It's important to remember that potential doesn't expire, but it does fade if ignored. Over time, unused potential becomes regret, a heavy reminder of what could have been. The only way to avoid that is to turn your someday into today. So if you've been carrying potential like a weight on your back, put it to work. Make the choice to act now, even if you're uncertain. Progress doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It begins the moment you do. The moment you decide fully, something powerful happens. Obstacles start to lose their grip on you. It's not that they disappear, it's that your perspective changes. Challenges that once looked like roadblocks now look like puzzles to solve. Problems that used to stop you become opportunities to strengthen your skills and prove your commitment. When your decision is absolute, you no longer waste energy debating whether to continue. You spend it figuring out how to keep moving. Indecision, on the other hand, feeds obstacles. When you're unsure, every challenge feels heavier because part of you is already thinking about quitting. You start questioning your abilities, doubting your path, and second, guessing whether the struggle is worth it. But a firm decision cuts off that mental noise. You're no longer wondering if you'll get there. You're focused on when and how. A committed mind naturally finds solutions. When you've decided that turning back is not an option, your brain shifts into problem-solving mode. You become more resourceful, more creative, and more persistent. This shift is why some people succeed in situations that make others quit. It's not that they face fewer problems, it's that their decision is stronger than their obstacles. The truth is, many obstacles are only as powerful as the doubt you give them. When you remove the doubt, you remove much of their power. They may still require effort to overcome, but they can no longer control the direction of your life. So if the path ahead feels full of barriers, check your decision first. When you decide fully, truly, without hesitation, you'll find that the obstacles haven't changed, but you have. And that change makes all the difference. A firm decision has the power to turn vague intentions into immediate action. Someday is a comfortable word. It feels like a plan, but it's really just a delay. It gives the illusion that you'll act in the future, but without a concrete decision, that day never arrives. The moment you decide fully, someday collapses into today, and your dreams stop living in the distance. You begin to work on them now with the tools, time, and opportunities you already have. When you make that shift, your mind changes gears. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating momentum with what's available. Progress becomes less about waiting for inspiration and more about building discipline. The clarity of your decision makes action feel urgent, and that urgency pushes you past procrastination. Without a firm decision, time slips by quietly. Days turn into weeks and weeks into years, while your goals stay trapped in the one day category. The danger is that one day can turn into never, without you even realizing it. A firm decision is the antidote. It anchors your goal to the present moment, where you can actually work on it. This transformation isn't about doing everything at once. It's about starting. The first step taken today opens the door for the second, and each one builds momentum. Before long, you're no longer talking about what you'll do. You're living it. So if there's something you've been putting off, make the decision now. Stop letting someday steal your future. Turn it into starting now, and let today be the day the rest of your life begins to change. One choice can become the dividing line between the person you are today and the person you used to be. It's the moment where you decide that the old habits, old excuses, and old patterns no longer have a place in your life. This is more than just a change in behavior. It's a change in identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That one choice becomes the turning point that separates your past from your future. When you make this kind of decision, you're not just moving towards something new. You're closing the chapter on what no longer serves you. You release the weight of your old story and begin writing a new one with new standards and new expectations for yourself. This is how transformation begins, not with a dozen small adjustments, but with one defining moment where you say, that's not me anymore. It doesn't mean the old you disappears overnight. The habits and temptations will still try to pull you back. But your decision acts as a constant reminder of who you've chosen to become. Every time you feel the urge to slip into your old ways, you measure it against the new identity you're building, and you choose to honor that commitment. Over time, the gap between who you were and who you are widens. People around you start to notice the difference, not just in what you do, but in how you carry yourself. You begin to live with a stronger sense of purpose and confidence because you know you've made a choice that truly matters. The truth is, change doesn't require 1,000 new rules. It often begins with one clear, defining choice. Make the choice that sets you apart from your old self, and let it become the foundation of the person you're meant to be. Commitment is the force that transforms good intentions into unstoppable momentum. Intentions alone are like an engine without fuel. They have the potential to move you forward, but they won't take you anywhere until you add the power of commitment. When you truly commit, you remove hesitation, eliminate the maybe, and replace it with a firm I will. That decision locks your focus on the goal and drives you to keep moving, even when the road gets difficult. Without commitment, progress is fragile. Every obstacle feels like a reason to stop, and every challenge becomes an excuse to delay. But commitment changes how you face those challenges. It turns setbacks into detours instead of dead ends. You start finding solutions instead of reasons to quit because your mind is already set on the destination. The beauty of commitment is that it builds momentum as you go. Each action you take reinforces your dedication, and each small win fuels the next step. This compounding effect creates a rhythm of progress that becomes hard to break. Even on days when motivation fades, your commitment keeps you moving forward. Momentum born from commitment has a way of attracting opportunities. People notice your consistency, doors open that would have stayed closed, and progress begins to feel inevitable. What once seemed far away starts to feel within reach, simply because you refuse to stop. If you want to see your intentions become reality, don't just plan. Commit. Once you decide fully and take the first step, the momentum you build will carry you further than you ever imagined. Commitment doesn't just move you forward, it keeps you moving until the goal is achieved. The power to change your life has always been in a single decision. It's not the number of years you've been trying, the amount of resources you have, or even the luck that comes your way. It's the moment you decide with complete clarity that things will no longer stay the same. That decision draws a line in the sand, separating your past from your future. From that point forward, every thought and action begins to align with the new path you've chosen. A single decision has the strength to shift your mindset instantly. The moment you commit, your focus sharpens and your energy becomes directed. You start noticing opportunities that were always there but invisible to an undecided mind. The obstacles you face don't disappear, but they lose their ability to stop you because your decision has already been made. You're moving forward no matter what. It's important to understand that life-changing decisions are rarely made in perfect conditions. They often happen when the circumstances are messy, the risks are real, and the outcome is uncertain. But that's exactly why they're powerful, because they demand courage and action in the face of doubt. Waiting for the right time is how most people let their entire lives pass without making the choice that could have set them free. Once you've made that decision, you'll find that action becomes natural. You're no longer negotiating with yourself each day. You've already decided who you are and where you're going. That clarity creates momentum, and momentum turns into progress, which builds into transformation. So if you're standing at a crossroads, remember this: you don't need 1,000 steps to change your life. You need one decision. Make it, own it, and let it be the moment that everything begins to change.